This is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Hi, Stacey. I'm MuckAl Girish, go by Girish. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Appnomic Systems. We are an artificial intelligence, machine learning-based enterprise software company. We provide a solution called Self-Healing Enterprise, where our company solution helps enterprises, mostly mid-size and large ones, fix and predict and fix problems before they occur in their IT infrastructure so that their users, both customers as well as their employees, can get a really good user experience. I also serve as CEO of IIT Madras Foundation. We are a nonprofit 501c3 that is raising a $100 million endowment for the Indian Institute of Technology in Madras, and with our alumni community here in the U.S.
Wow, thank you so much. I'll be so excited to hear your perspective as we explore kind of this idea about people, which unfortunately, unlike your system that can provide all those insights and heads up, I think people don't come with those warning systems. Right? They're a little bit more of an enigmatic. But that leads me to my question then, question 2 for you. What's the best thing about leading people from your perspective, being in charge of sales and technology, and, you got a bunch of different perspectives, I'm sure.
Yeah, Stacey, I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of people in a number of stakeholders everywhere. And I think in my opinion, one of the best things about leading is to groom and grow other people to become leaders, in my opinion. And that's where that's how I see it as, you're a successful leader. It's not just what you do, but actually you create other leaders. And being able to do that, requires you to, do a number of traditional things, right? One is, end of the day, it's all about purpose. The way I see leadership is all about purpose. When people have a purpose, they do things and they're actually able to step up and make other people join them in doing it. And then number 2 is also, the traditional aspects that we talk about, such as painting a vision, motivating people, getting them to work as a group, being a multiplier and all that. I think all of this ends up at being able to communicate this to the people that you work with, right? And they getting that aspect, and they actually starting to believe in it, seeing a purpose, applying it to their own lives and their own ways of leading things, and then they growing up to become great leaders. I think that's the greatest satisfaction. And what we are going through today, in terms of the COVID-19 crisis and all that, has brought up a number of stuff, right? One is when things are growing and everything is rosy, everything is great. A lot of people can lead well, and again, that can happen with or without them doing their magic. Of course, when things go down, when you see traditionally things slowing down, there's a recession, there is small amount of things. Yeah, you can also start seeing people with qualities that come up. But with COVID, it is almost like a black swan scenario. This is where you really one of the opportunities to see leadership among people is how do they behave, react. How do they talk to other people? How do they communicate with other people and make things happen? It's a great testing ground for many people to test out their leadership skills. And I think if you can go through this well, when people do that, that's when you see great leadership coming out of it. And then it's also in between what you do, right? Between these crises or between these ups and downs and these real downs. How do you train yourself? How do you prepare yourself? I see that as the best thing as well.
There's so much there. I mean, again, I think the takeaways are you're there to serve others, and how are you helping them to become better? And, again, it just really harkens to that servant leadership. I often hear from other leaders, though, I'd be curious your thoughts on this, that business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know people come in all sizes and shapes, right? And behaviors, of course. And of course, oftentimes, we are able to hire the right people, as they talk about. We have a bus, we want to get the right people on the bus so that we can drive it to the right to the destination. But sometimes there are people sitting on the bus already. So we do come up with that. And I think the way to look at it is identifying the root cause, right? If somebody is not either performing well or becoming detrimental to the mission of either a company or an organization, it is to find out what is the root cause, what is driving them not to do well. Sometimes you see people that are very talented, they are skillful, but somehow they're not able to work well with others or work in conjunction with others to move in the right direction. So it's about finding a root cause, right? Just like what our company solution is, root cause analysis, it's all about people, why are they behaving that way? If you can identify it, then you can see there's a potential solution. At times, what also happens is they may be without a purpose. So in order to really determine, if there is no purpose, showing them the purpose may change a lot of people to do things better. Of course, if either they don't get the purpose or they don't buy into it, it doesn't happen, then we have to live without them for that particular, company or project or whatever, the drastic solution, because you don't want to bring the whole team down just because somebody is not able to, function with others, right? But in my opinion, I think it's all about understanding what is driving their behavior, what is their, belief in this whole aspect, and what is their purpose, and then, do they really have the skills to do it if they believe in it? If we can do all that, we can correct and get a lot of people to do the right things in most cases. And of course, there is a small little element where that doesn't happen. In that case, we all know, we have all been there and done that.
Yeah, exactly. What other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the podcast? Who else should we be paying attention to?
Yeah, I can think of a couple of people. One is I have a friend, a classmate of mine called Muddu Sudhakar. He is a CEO of another AI company called Icera, AISERA. He has started he's a serial entrepreneur out here in Silicon Valley, started a number of companies, sold them. They were bought by large corporations here. What I admire about him is the ability to not only come up with ideas for companies, but also being able to communicate that with a lot of stakeholders, everybody from the investment community, right? Because he's attracted investment from some of the top investors on the planet, but also to his team that actually continues to go with him from company to company, and then also to customers. One of the things he's done very well is he's got great ideas, brings great products, but he's also able to get customers to adopt them early on, so that he can the company becomes not only successful but also does builds a product correctly based on that. So he's one person that I think demonstrates not only leadership qualities but also communication abilities with multiple stakeholders. The other person that immediately comes to mind is my CEO, Nitin Kumar. I kind of call him a master communicator, and one of the qualities he does is he relentlessly stays in touch with a lot of people simultaneously. The number of phone calls he does on a daily basis, number of emails that he does, the number of text messages, and sincerely staying in touch with people. It sort of, and he helps them out. He's always there with them. He's connected to everybody. He knows what's going on, but he puts that effort. He makes time in his busy schedule to do something like that, and that allows him to not only know a lot of things, but also to get to vet things very quickly. So if an idea or a concept or something, all of a sudden within seconds, or sometimes I call it nanoseconds, he's got feedback from 7 people, right? So in this day and age, it's not just what we know, but who we know and how do we communicate with them to both ways, right? It's not just a take, but to give a lot while and it all works out in the end.
I love the saying, giver's gain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What piece of advice about communication would you give to other leaders?
Yeah, I think, number of them, but one thing I want to touch upon is transparency. As a leader, number one thing is you want people to trust you, anything that you say, right? So which means you have to be transparent, especially when it comes to bad news or, average news. I think giving a very open, a very clear-cut, candid view to communicate to your team and to all the stakeholders, actually, for that matter, right, is extremely essential. And actually, as a sales person, I mean, I talk to customers on an hourly basis. And one thing that I've found is being transparent with all my stakeholders, right? Customers, partners, my company team, and investors, everyone else. It helps a lot. It actually sets the stage correctly. Nobody has any wrong expectations of any sort, and actually we build on it together, right? So if you're a good leader, if your team can come to you with bad news immediately, if there is a bad news, they should just not feel a single second of wait, but come to you and say, here is something going wrong, and then we can work as a team to figure out what are possible mitigations there. That's when you know that with communication you have achieved a lot, right? Of course, I've learned this a hard way, but I truly believe that if we can do it that way and build that trust, build that ability to communicate candidly with everyone, not putting a silver lining on anything without a basis for it. But at the same time, having said this, it's Stacy, it's also about being optimistic. End of the day, we live in a world where optimism carries you a long way, but there is a fine line between optimism and the truth, right? So truth has to be dealt with, but you can be optimistic to find out how to do it better.
Love that. Love that. All right, magic question number 6 for you. Tell us about your favorite boss or teacher who's really influenced you.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. A lot of people have been instrumental, and I feel very lucky about that. But one person I can think of is a professor from my undergrad school, IIT Madras. This professor T.T. Narendran, he's now retired, and he taught me this course called Operations Research when I was in my 3rd year out in undergrad, and he made a phenomenal impact in not only for me to love that subject and pursue that, but to get a keen interest in it and go do a PhD in operations research in the area of queuing networks. And also now I work in the artificial intelligence space. A lot of the underpinnings of that comes from that field. So what he did was, even though my undergrad major was mechanical engineering, this subject, the way he sort of engaged with students, the way he made it interesting, and the way he motivated the students to learn more about it. And then he was also very funny. He had these one-liner jokes all the time. He just never let a single moment pass by without those jokes. It just made it, an amazing experience, and something that you felt so good about, got motivated, pursued. And in fact, we were in Chennai this past holiday season, and remember the time when we could all travel?
Yeah.
And my wife
30 days
ran into
ago?
him. Yeah, exactly. Something called airplanes, something called buses, cars. So my wife ran into him at a restaurant there with my cousin, who's also my classmate. And, they took a picture, and he was very fondly asking about me as well at that time. And man, he's had an outsized influence in where I am today.
That's so amazing that he thinks about you and asks about you and cares to know. And that's pretty cool. Well, thank you so much for being on. How can people find you if they want to reach out and ask some questions or get to know you better?
Yeah, absolutely, Stacey. I'm available on LinkedIn, MuckAI Girish, MuckAI. With that AI, corresponds with my field, and like Girish, Girish. Or you can also find me on my company's website, appnomic.com, appnomic.com as well.
That's
and
amazing.
This has been fabulous talking to you, and I'm so glad you're doing this and helping make a big difference.
Oh, well, again, thank you so much. The pleasure is all ours, and really excited to hear what we'll have you back again and have some more insights from you. But in the meantime, this is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. We look forward to seeing you again next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.